Kristin Ward is a modern dancer. She's a Middle Eastern dancer. She is an artist. She is a fire eater. She is a busker, and she is a storytelling. She came into storytelling, she says, when she was young, and she went, and for the first time, she saw somebody do professional belly dancing. And she said she was transported at the idea that someone could use movement and body to tell a story. And that's apparently what she says is that what set her off. She is excellent at and has made a name for herself in reimagining folk tales or finding new ways to tell old tales. And she captivates us all with the way she incorporates all her art forms together. So I'm thrilled to welcome Kristin Ward.
Thank you, Kate. So this story does go with a short disclaimer. I apologize to any vegetarians that are out there. You will find out why soon enough. So in my experience, Thanksgiving, more than almost any other holiday, is a time for forging family traditions. As a child, my family's tradition involved my mom, my dad, my brother, and me all piling into our big Buick station wagon and riding over the river and down the New York State Thruway to grandmother's house. Despite the painfully early morning start and the 2.5 hours of fighting with my brother over whose elbow was in whose personal space, I always looked forward to this because it meant seeing all of my extended family together. Grandma, grandpa, uncles, aunts, cousins. And of course, all of us brought our own traditions as well. My grandpa would serenade us with silly songs on his banjo. My grandma would make the infamous Jell-O salad, a century atrocity of lime Jell-O, cottage cheese, and crushed pineapple, poured into a festive mold and topped with a 1-to-1 ratio of Cool Whip and Miracle Whip. My mother still refers to the whole concoction as disgusting. And every year as the desserts came out, one cousin would never fail to ask if the pumpkin pie was in fact made with real, not canned, pumpkin. Looking back, I believe he did this just to get his yearly dose of Gran's withering glare. Time moves on and traditions change. My brother and I grew up, Grandpa passed away, and after a while it became too difficult for Grandma to hold the feast on her own. And so the mantle of Thanksgiving passed to my mother, and Grandma would come to us. These were festive times as well, for it meant celebrating 3 adjacent holidays: Thanksgiving, Christmas, and my birthday, all at once.
Aww.
And I know some in my situation might complain about having a birthday so close to the holiday season, but you just haven't lived until you've seen an apple pie ablazed with sparkling trick birthday candles, or tasted the wonder that is a slice of real pumpkin pie nestled lovingly against a chunk of ice cream cake.
Mm.
One of the first years of what I like to call the Thanksgiving birthday Christmas extravaganza, despite being a guest of honor third only to Turkey and Jesus, I almost didn't make it. I had just moved to Pittsburgh, and as a new driver with an ancient car that could barely make it up Pittsburgh hills, I was wary of making the 6-hour snowy drive north to Buffalo and east to the Finger Lakes. And so I booked a Greyhound. It was a pretty inexpensive and straightforward trip with a short layover in Erie, and Grandma and Mom could meet me at the station in Rochester. I was wrong. I arrived at the bus station on Wednesday morning filled with hope and excitement over getting to see my family for the first time since moving to Pittsburgh, only to find that there had been a huge snowstorm and Buffalo and Erie were shut down. I waited with fellow Rochester travelers as Greyhound decided what to do with us. And finally, we all got on a bus west to Cleveland.
Oh.
After a few-hour nap, as the driver navigated more lake effect snow, we awaited our fate in a bus station in Cleveland, and finally again boarded a bus, this time back towards Pittsburgh and east, down the Pennsylvania Turnpike to New York City. Now, I had always wanted to see New York, but the inside of an underground bus terminal at 3 a.m. was not what I had in mind. Movies and musicals had promised me glittering lights and fashionable crowds that might burst into song at any moment. Here, everything was just sticky. Especially the payphone, which I literally held the receiver in a tissue as I dialed the numbers to alert my family back home. This was before cell phones and well before we all started carrying cleaning wipes with us wherever we went. After a brief layover that ended with the young Mennonite men in their straw hats and dark clothes who had ventured topside, returning, laughing and nudging each other, we boarded our final bus. After many more miles of naps, snacks, and wishing for all it was worth for a pair of glittering shoes that I could just click together, I arrived in Geneva, New York. Mom and Grandma met me at the station with lots of hugs. After a full 20-hour voyage, I was finally where I wanted to be. And as I blew out my candles on my birthday pie, I was planning for an uneventful return trip. Now, holidays, like life, are never immune to challenges. And a couple of years after that, Mom caught the bug. That 24-hour stomach bug that used to come around about every 3 years or so and wipe a third of us out at the holidays, with the sole consolation of not gaining a bit of weight from the feasting. With Mom in no condition to handle food and Gran having earned her rest, I volunteered to prepare the bird. Now, I had heard enough Thanksgiving stories of shame to know that there were things inside even a store-bought turkey that must be removed before roasting. But what exactly was up there? Well, this to me was classified information known only to the turkey, the Butterball people, and the FBI. Very carefully lifted the turkey out of its thaw bath and set it on the counter, eyeing it suspiciously. Gran swiveled her chair around so she could watch. I very carefully lifted its privacy flap to peer inside, as if checking a cave for bats. Grandma cracked a smile. I squared myself off, rolled up my sleeve, and very apologetically reached into the turkey's nether regions. It was icy cold and wet and sort of slimy, and I winced. Grandma snickered. As I pressed on, the turkey appeared to be deeper on the inside than it was on the outside. In fact, it seemed to be swallowing my arm. I yanked it out to make sure it was still attached to me. The recliner Grandma was sitting in shook as she held up a hand to hide suppressed laughter and asked me if I would like some help. Now, I, being adopted, may not share genetics with my family, but somehow, by providence or learning, I managed to inherit the sheer stubbornness that has gone through the matriarchal line of this family since the first Thanksgiving was ever held. I declined her offer, squared myself off again, and plunged my arm into the waiting turkey and felt around. Finally, victory. My hand brushed something and I latched onto it, holding it aloft. A baggie of bits. I sighed at the strange brown organs that for some reason my mom likes to add to the gravy and set it on the counter triumphantly. Gran raised an eyebrow and asked me if I might like to check again to see if anything else was up there. But I was not about to fall for that trick. Got the turkey into the roasting pan.
Oh no!
Washed my hands and rolled my sleeves back down just as Mom emerged from her bedroom to see what all the commotion had been about. And she took one look at the bag on the counter and said, "Where's the neck?" I shot a defeated look to my grandmother, squared myself off again, and rolled my sleeves back up. Gran howled with laughter. Now, I just happen to be blessed with a brother who, despite the uncontrollable elbows, grew up to be a fantastic cook. So the Thanksgiving mantle has yet to pass to me. But looking back, I am very thankful for what I was able to provide. Entertainment. Thank you.
Oh, Kristin, thank
And
you.
if anybody wants the lime jello recipes, I have my grandmother's cookbook.
Oh, God.
I think you make a lot of us feel so much better when we compare the first turkeys that we all cooked. It's the exact same thing. So, oh, that's funny. That's great. Thank you, Kristin.